Welcome to Our Communiversity today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to Our Communiversity today. I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley, and I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore Our Communiversity. I'm so excited about today's episode because, again, I always talk about Communiversity being the community is the university and the university is the community. And I remember being at the business summit at the Greenbrier, and one of the first individuals I met there through a mutual friend that I did my PhD with at Ohio University was none other than Ken Allman. And I got to know Ken and learn more about him, his vision, especially as the founder of PracticeLink, one of the most visionary things to happen in the medical field. And so as we look at Ken, we look at his vision, we look at his commitment to Southern West Virginia, I believe that he is the epitome of what the Communiversity could be, but more importantly, should be. So again, in studio today is Ken Allman, the founder and CEO of PracticeLink. And as always, on Our Communiversity today, we look to ask and answer two questions. Simply, why not us? And why not now? So right after this break, we will be back with more Our Communiversity today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
Get started right now on your dream website. Call Cucumber and Company today. 304-250-0123. Online at cucumberandcompany.com.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity today. Again, we are visiting with Ken Allman, a visionary serial entrepreneur who happens to be the 1994 founder of a West Virginia-born company called PracticeLink. Ken, how are you today?
Wonderful. A little, just trying to stay warm like everyone else.
Absolutely.
Great to be here, Dr. Stewart.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you for being with us. And as you mentioned, the weather has been a doozy already this winter. And so I'm glad that you're staying safe, you're staying warm, but also continuing to contribute to West Virginia in the way that you do. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ken.
Proud West Virginia Hinton native. I was born there at the old Hinton Hospital in 1961, so that makes me 64 years old at the moment. So we're just graduate of Central Elementary, Hinton Junior High, Hinton High School back in the day, 1980. Attended Concord for 2 years, and then went to Aldous Abradas and finished a BS degree there in pre-med biology and minor in political science, and a year of grad school at the University of Dayton in Ohio, and eventually, my jobs at the time took me to St. Louis, Missouri. So Hinton in West Virginia is still my home. St. Louis is my adopted home, and my wife's from St. Louis, Julie. We have a 10-year-old, Charles.
Well, certainly good to learn a little bit more about you, Julie and Charles. And, I love it. Your adoptive home is St. Louis, but these country roads always bring you home to Summers County, where, Hinton is the place of your birth and everything. What is it about Summers County, Southern West Virginia, Hinton? What is it about this place that makes you always call it home?
Growing up, many of my contemporary friends coming through our school system, they found it necessary to relocate for employment, their first jobs out of high school or college. Some of my friends got to stay and work with local businesses, whether it's in Hinton, it was likely the railroad, or maybe the hospital, or a bank, or the schools. Once I went off to grad school, that was my first adventure kind of out of West Virginia. I never really left, though. I didn't have a yearning to leave. I think growing up in Hinton and Southern West Virginia at the time, it was really Americana at its best. The community, the downtown, the schools, the teachers, those, so many influences on my life were rooted in, small town America. And I think that has benefited me throughout my life. I've been fortunate to travel to many parts of the United States and a few parts of the world, and nothing has ever made me say, I would rather be here or there, except Hinton is my hometown. It's my base. As our conversation progresses here, ended up setting up my first real office in Hinton. I continued to live in St. Louis at the time, but I knew Hinton would be kind of that stable part of my life. At that time, not knowing how the future would turn out, I felt safe in many ways, making Hinton my base and the headquarters for our company.
Yeah, Ken, I think it's so profound. Again, PracticeLink, one of the leaders, and we'll talk a little bit more about PracticeLink and what it does and who it does it for. But, being a worldwide company, but then knowing that it's based right in Southern West Virginia and Hinton, I think is so important because, unfortunately, one of our biggest exports in West Virginia, especially Southern West Virginia, is our young talent. But I think your story of being able to not only have a vision, but establish it in West Virginia, establish it in Southern West Virginia, and sustain it for more than 30 years is something that needs to be not only celebrated, but disseminated. And so I want to thank you for believing in West Virginia, for always, again, letting these country roads bring you home. And speaking of home, again, you had that vision in 1994 to found this company, PracticeLink. Tell us a little bit about PracticeLink.
Thanks, Dr. Stewart. It's PracticeLink came about at the beginning of the internet, and you can check it out at practicelink.com. At that time, I was pre-med through grad school. I never applied to medical school. Eventually, I ended up doing management consulting, working with a firm that worked with a number of different companies throughout the United States. That seems like I've always had to travel with my work. Spending 2 years with a management consulting firm, I learned a lot. I met somebody who was a physician headhunter on a flight, And a few weeks later, I became a physician headhunter. And I spent the next 2 years learning how to recruit physicians to healthcare facilities throughout the United States. It was a unique time and opportunity because there were online services for some of us that might remember. They were called America Online, or that's probably the most prominent and well-known for many, but there was no internet. And when the internet came along, it opened the door to many things like AI is doing now. And I was like, the work I'm doing is could be done in a better way with a website. And at this point, websites are not known to that many people, or maybe only for a few months. So I set up a server in my apartment and learned how to run a website, learned how to set up a server. And so PracticeLink became maybe the first online internet-based physician job board on the internet, possibly. And fortunately, it grew. It was a slow first 5 years. It was a little ahead of its time. I was a single guy for a long time, and that enabled me to take some risks and things that otherwise would have probably not been wise or prudent. But PracticeLink began at a time when serving hospitals and healthcare systems, medical groups throughout the United States. I was fortunate that I had a base of people I knew that I'd established relationships with. Having those people made a big difference in my life, made a big difference in being able to start something like PracticeLink. They were very supportive and helped get it off the ground at a time when they didn't even have email yet. So at that time, a lot of things were handled by fax machine. And so even having a website, having customers at hospitals and healthcare systems throughout the United States without email meant that if a physician saw a job on the website and they filled out a form, I would have to fax that to the intended healthcare recruiter to communicate that way. So, who could have imagined what the internet would become at that time? It's hard to believe, but just making it work, setting up a server, faxing leads instead of emailing leads. I didn't know how to program a database. Database technology for the internet wasn't even there yet. So every individual job posting got its own individual web page that I did know how to do. So, it's just kind of making it work is
Ken, I think
part
that goes
of
back.
Why we're here.
I think that goes back to that foundation of growing up in Southern West Virginia and the influence that it had on you. The teachers, the community helped you make it work, and so glad that work translated into the founding of PracticeLink. Ladies and gentlemen, in studio with Ken Allman, who's the founder and CEO of PracticeLink. We're going to take a short break, so stay tuned for News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity today.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
You need a website. Right now. You can't do anything. Right now. Just call Cucumber. Do it right here and now.
Get started right now on your dream website. Call Cucumber and Company today. QComerandCompany.com.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride at Pendleton Community Bank. Our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity today. Again, we are visiting with Ken Allman, who is the founder and CEO of PracticeLink, a business, a Southern West Virginia business founded in 1994 in Hinton, West Virginia. And Ken, when you were talking about the founding of PracticeLink, you talked about actually being single and being able to take some risk that maybe you wouldn't have been able to do given other circumstances. Tell me about some of those risks.
There's a lot to learn when you bootstrap a business from scratch, when you don't have a financial safety net or investors. That's a whole different game, and that's a game that I didn't know a lot about, and I'm fortunate that I didn't at the time, because it just it took just prayer and perseverance, really. That is what I'll always say. I'll say that, I grew up in a great family that I think is a blessing that we can't take for granted. And we weren't we were normal. We weren't that well off. We weren't that bad off. But we grew a lot of our vegetables out of the garden on Madams Creek, and my father was a brakeman conductor on the railroad. My mom was with AT&T until I was born, and then she became a stay-at-home mom, raised me and my sister Sheila, and supported us in our clubs and our sports and our academics, and just having that family foundation meant a lot. My grandfather had a gospel quartet for many years. He passed away when I was 12. My grandmother working in the garden every day. So that's kind of the base for, I guess, what helped for me. But so did a lot of those teachers and at Summers County Schools, the Sunday school teachers at my church. They all, the coaches on our sports teams, they all played a significant role. Even neighbors and friends at a time when neighborhoods were part of the fabric that made up our community. It's so the PracticeLink problems, I would say, when you're, so for me, the technical stuff was stuff I could try to learn and understand, but hiring your first employees is a very important step in any company. It's got to be a good fit. And, I knew nothing about that when I first started. And I think that those were some of the mistakes that I made, in not the people themselves. That wasn't their fault. It was on me to, know what I was doing and to be able to properly lead and manage them and help them and support them. And that was a big learning curve for me personally. It's also a part of my story that I had a little bit of money in the bank when I started PracticeLink, but when you're hiring employees and the revenue is not keeping up with the expenses, I ended up in Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 1995. I'm not proud of that. But it is part of my story, and it's at that time I was able to keep the business going. I had people in the industry that weren't aware of what I was going through. I had friends and family supporting me that were aware of what I was going through, but they and the only investor PracticeLink's ever had was, I tell this story, my mom. My father had passed away right before starting PracticeLink, and she had a small life insurance amount of money in the bank, and she gave me a significant portion of that to keep the dream alive at that time. So, this is really the Ken Allman part of this. Is I get to be maybe the poster child in a way, but there's so many other people that contributed to the success of PracticeLink from the very beginning.
That is outstanding. Founded in 94, bankrupt in 95, and in 2026, you are finding ways to thrive. And I think part of that, Ken, is your homage to the foundation that you had. And, I when I introduced you, I talked about you being a serial entrepreneur. And I think that is something that is important. So, PracticeLink obviously is PracticeLink, but you have several other initiatives and ideas to give back and build up Hinton. What are some of the major entrepreneurial projects that you have there in Hinton?
Well, as PracticeLink grew, we started on 2nd Avenue in the Hinton National Historic District at a time when Hinton had declined significantly with changes on the railroad, with at the time the C&O becoming Chessie System. All was well, but when Chessie System became CSX, when it merged with Seaboard Coastline, that began a decline in railroad operations in Hinton that affected many families. And at that same time, I-64 was completed, bypassing Hinton. So a great deal of the traffic that would flow east and west, north and south through Hinton also disappeared. It made it easier for folks in Summers County to travel to the three major commerce centers that center around Hinton, the Lewisburgs, the Princeton Bluefields, the Beckleys. So folks in our county were drawn to do their shopping and other things in those surrounding larger areas. So I think, PracticeLink came along at a time when economically, I think Hinton had been in a 40-year decline, roughly, and 20-year decline at that point, and that many of our storefronts had become empty. Fortunately, our forefathers in the 70s and 80s foresaw something, and they were able to establish Hinton as a National Historic District, which has tax advantages for historic preservation. And I give them a great deal of credit for establishing that. And for some folks, they would probably fall on the other side of that being in a National Historic District means that you're not completely free to do what you want with your property. The trade-off is the tax credits that are provided if you do preserve your property. And so I think it makes Hinton unique. It's one of the largest National Historic Districts in the country. 16 square blocks are protected by the Hinton National Historic District. And now, many people may not realize it, but the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve actually encompasses a tiny part of the city of Hinton. It encompasses our Amtrak station, our historic C&O passenger depot at the bottom of 2nd Avenue. So not only do we have a National Historic District, it also intersects with America's newest national park. The PracticeLink has always been able to benefit by being a national company. So, and we were in a field of healthcare that has never seen a decline. We've never needed fewer doctors than we've had. We always need more doctors than what are available to serve, folks everywhere. And so PracticeLink was in a unique niche. Couldn't have planned that. It was fortuitous that that's what happened. But, at this point, a quick side note is PracticeLink is responsible for approximately 1/3 of physician recruitment that happens throughout the United States. We work with more than 1,000 healthcare organizations, hospitals, and medical groups throughout the United States, government agencies, and we support all of that primarily from our main office in Hinton and a secondary office in St. Louis. As PracticeLink grew in Hinton, in the historic district, we needed a place for people to sleep, we needed a place for people to eat, and we needed a place for people to meet. And so we, within a 2-year period, we established the Guest House Inn on Courthouse Square as a bed and breakfast. We restored the 1929 built Ritz Theater, 300-seat theater, did a major restoration of the theater, and we opened the Market Restaurant. And these 3 businesses still serve us well today. Over the years, we've expanded to include ownership of 2 radio stations. We operate Otter and Oak, which was started by a high school friend of mine, and she did an amazing job and handed it off to us. And we've hold a number of other properties in the historic district that we strive to protect and preserve and repurpose as circumstances continue to improve.
Eat, sleep, and meet. That is phenomenal. The notion of parlaying PracticeLink and what it does into a hospitality arm that allows you to eat, sleep, and meet. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again in studio with us, Ken Allman, founder and CEO of PracticeLink, and also a serial entrepreneur. We're going to take a short break, so stick with News Talk WWNR as we close out this edition of Our Communiversity today.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
You need a website. Right now. You can't do anything. Right now. Just call Cucumber. Do it right here and now.
Get started right now on your dream website. Call Cucumber and Company today. 304-250-0123. Online at cucumberandcompany.com.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride at Pendleton Community Bank. Our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity today. Again, I want to thank our guest, Ken Allman, the founder and CEO of PracticeLink, a company established in 1994 in Hinton, West by God, Virginia. And through that, being the supplier and actually helping 1/3 of all physicians be placed in their jobs nationwide, we have an industry leader that emanates right here from the hills of southern West Virginia. And I think we have to be proud of that. We have to celebrate that, because you can start here and go anywhere. And not only can you go anywhere, you can bring back the things you know so that you can evolve, whether it's PracticeLink, but then be able to make sure that everybody has a place to eat, sleep, and meet in southern West Virginia. These are the things that we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. So I ask that you visit wwnrradio.com for additional information about PracticeLink and Ken Allman and how you can build Our Communiversity today for a brighter southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.